The average U.S. corn farmer generates approximately $700 to $800 revenue per acre. After input costs, seed, fertilizer, fuel, equipment, net profit is often $200 to $300 per acre, sometimes less. Soybeans, similar story. Revenue around $600 per acre. Net profit $150 to $250 if you're fortunate. Now let me show you something the commodity agriculture industry doesn't advertise. There exists a category of specialty crops, high-density niche market plants, that generate $30,000, $50,000, now even $200,000 revenue per acre. Not projected, not theoretical. Actual documented returns from working farms. These aren't magic. They're hard work, specific knowledge, and market access. But the financial reality is undeniable. 1 acre of the right specialty crop can outperform 100 acres of conventional commodity crops. I'm an agricultural economist. I analyze farm economics and profitability models. These are the 10 most profitable crops per acre, ranked by revenue potential, high with real numbers from real operations. Let's begin. Starting at number 10, microgreens. Revenue potential, $50,000 to $100,000 per acre annually. Microgreens are vegetable seedlings harvested 7 to 14 days after germination, after the first true leaves emerge, but before the plant matures. Arugula, basil, radish, mustard, kale. Restaurants pay $25 to $50 per pound for fresh microgreens. A 10 by 20 growing tray yields approximately 1 to 1.5 pounds of microgreens per harvest. So you can stack trays vertically and complete 20 to 30 growing cycles per year in controlled indoor environments. The math: 1,000 square foot growing room with vertical racking can produce 1,000 to 2,000 pounds of microgreens monthly. At wholesale prices of $30 per pound, that's $30,000 to $60,000 monthly revenue from a space the size of a small garage. Scale that to a full acre of intensive indoor growing, and revenue projections reach $100,000 plus. The reality check? This requires daily labor, near climate control, and direct market access to chefs and specialty grocers. Input costs include seeds, growing medium, lighting, if indoor, and packaging. But the cash flow is fast. Plant on Monday, harvest the following Monday, sell on Tuesday. 2-week revenue cycles. Market consideration. Microgreens are perishable. You need local restaurant accounts or farmers market presence. No local market means no business model. This is a high-density, fast turnover specialty crop, ideal for small spaces and urban farming operations. Number 9, vanilla. Revenue potential, $50,000 to $80,000 per acre in appropriate climates. Real vanilla, Vanilla planifolia, is the second most expensive spice after saffron. Cured vanilla beans wholesale for $200 to $600 per pound, depending on grade and market conditions. A mature vanilla vine produces approximately 5 to 10 pounds of beans per year. Now, 1 acre can support 1,000 to 1,500 vines at high-density planting. Theoretical revenue: 1,200 vines times 7 pounds average, times $300 per pound equals approximately $2.5 million per acre. Reality: that's not happening. Here's why. Vanilla requires hand pollination. Each flower blooms for 1 day only and must be pollinated that morning. This is extremely labor-intensive. Commercial operations employ dedicated pollination crews during the flowering period. Additionally, vanilla takes 3 to 4 years from planting to first harvest. Beans require 6 to 9 months of careful curing after harvest. The entire process is skilled labor from start to finish. Realistic revenue accounting for labor costs, curing infrastructure, and vine maturation timeline: $50,000 to $80,000 per acre, once fully established. Climate restriction: vanilla grows commercially only in USD, A zones 10 to 11. Think Florida, Hawaii, Puerto Rico, or greenhouse production elsewhere. Market note: Madagascar dominates global vanilla supply. Price volatility is extreme. Wholesale prices fluctuate from $50 to $600 per pound, based on cyclone damage, supply disruptions, and market speculation. This is a high-skill, climate-specific long-term investment crop with significant revenue potential for those with appropriate conditions and patience. Number 8, truffles. Revenue potential: $30,000 to $200,000 plus per acre, if successful. I'm listing truffles because the revenue ceiling is extraordinary, but I need to be completely transparent. Truffle cultivation is the agricultural equivalent of a lottery ticket. Black Perigord truffles wholesale for $800 to $1,200 per pound. White Alba truffles can reach $2,000 to $4,000 per pound. A productive truffle orchard can yield 50 to 200 pounds per acre at maturity. The math suggests $40,000 to $800,000 per acre. There's the reality. Truffle cultivation is exceptionally difficult and uncertain. You're inoculating tree roots with truffle mycelium and hoping, over 5 to 10 years, that fruiting bodies form underground in harvestable quantities. Many truffle orchards produce nothing. Some produce modest yields. A very small percentage produce the numbers cited above. Successful operations exist in Oregon, Tennessee, North Carolina, and parts of Europe. But success requires specific soil, pH, calcium content, climate conditions, and frankly, luck. Investment timeline: 7 to 10 years from planting to first potential harvest. Years of irrigation, maintenance, and soil management before any revenue. If you're willing to accept the risk, plant trees, wait a decade, and potentially harvest one of agriculture's most valuable crops, truffles belong on this list. If you need reliable cash flow, skip this one entirely. Number 7. Gourmet mushrooms, oyster, shiitake, lion's mane. Their revenue potential: $60,000 to $120,000 per acre. Intensive indoor production. Gourmet mushrooms, wholesale for $6 to $15 per pound, depending on variety and market. Retail prices reach $12 to $20 per pound. Mushroom production is measured not in acres but in vertical growing space. One 1,000 square foot climate-controlled room with vertical shelving can produce 4,000 to 8,000 pounds of oyster mushrooms annually. At wholesale prices of $8 per pound, that's $32,000 to $64,000 annual revenue from 1,000 square feet. Scale that to acre-equivalent intensive production, multiple growing rooms, stacked production cycles, and revenue easily exceeds $100,000. The process: mushrooms grow on sterilized substrate, typically hardwood sawdust, straw, or agricultural waste. Production cycles are short, 6 to 10 weeks from inoculation to harvest for oyster mushrooms. Input costs: substrate materials, spawn, mushroom seed, climate control, and humidity management. Labor for harvesting and packaging. Market access: restaurants, farmers markets, grocery co-ops, and direct-to-consumer sales. Gourmet mushrooms are increasingly mainstream. Demand is strong and growing. This is one of the few specialty crops with fast turnover, consistent demand, and the ability to produce year-round in climate-controlled environments. Not technically a crop per acre in the traditional sense, but the revenue density per square foot of growing space is exceptional. Number 6. Bamboo. Revenue potential: $25,000 to $60,000 per acre. Bamboo has 3 primary markets: landscaping plants, bamboo poles for construction/crafts, and bamboo shoots for culinary use. Landscaping market: potted bamboo plants retail for $30 to $100, depending on size and species. Clumping varieties, non-invasive, command premium prices. 1 acre can produce 2,000 to 3,000 saleable plants annually once established. Revenue: 2,500 plants times $40 wholesale equals $100,000 gross. Subtract potting, soil, labor, and you're at $40,000 to $60,000 net per acre. Pole market: bamboo poles wholesale for 50 cents to $5 per pole, depending on diameter and length. Mature groves produce hundreds of harvestable poles per acre annually. Shoot market: edible bamboo shoots wholesale for $3 to $8 per pound. 1 acre of established bamboo can yield 1,000 to 3,000 pounds of shoots in spring harvest season. Now, the timeline: bamboo takes 3 to 5 years to establish productive groves. After that, it's essentially a perennial crop requiring minimal inputs. Market consideration: you need direct sales channels, landscapers, garden centers, or ethnic food markets. Bamboo is not a commodity crop with established wholesale infrastructure. This is a low-input, long-term crop with multiple revenue streams and consistent niche demand, particularly in areas with strong landscaping industries. Number 5. Goji berries. Revenue potential: $30,000 to $70,000 per acre. Goji berries benefited enormously from the superfood marketing wave of the 2000s and 2010s. Dried goji berries retail for $15 to $30 per pound. Wholesale prices range from $8 to $18 per pound. A mature goji berry planting, 3+ years old, produces 3,000 to 7,000 pounds of fresh berries per acre. Fresh berries are approximately 20% of dry weight, meaning 600 to 1,400 pounds of dried berries per acre. Revenue calculation: 1,000 pounds dried times $12 wholesale equals $12,000 to $25,000 per acre. However, direct-to-consumer sales, farmers markets online, achieve retail pricing of $20 to $30 per pound, pushing revenue to $50,000 to $70,000 per acre for vertically integrated operations that control the full value chain. Growing requirements: goji berries are hardy shrubs, zones 5 to 9. They tolerate poor soil, drought, and require minimal inputs once established. Labor: Harvesting is manual and time-consuming. Berries are delicate and must be handled carefully. Drying requires infrastructure, dehydrators, or drying rooms. Market saturation note. The goji berry market peaked around 2010 to 2015. Demand is still solid but no longer explosive. Price competition from imported dried goji, primarily from China, has pressured margins. This remains profitable for direct market farms with loyal customer bases and value-added processing capabilities. Now, number 4, lavender. Revenue potential, $30,000 to $120,000 per acre, depending on product mix. Lavender generates revenue through multiple channels. Fresh cut flowers, $8 to $20 per bunch. Dried bundles, $10 to $25 per bundle. Culinary lavender, $20 to $40 per pound. And most lucratively, essential oil. Lavender essential oil wholesales for $80 to $150 per pound. 1 acre of lavender produces approximately 15 to 30 pounds of essential oil annually. Nay, oil revenue alone, 20 pounds times $100 equals $2,000 per acre. That's the low end. But lavender farms rarely rely solely on oil. Diversified revenue model. Fresh bouquets at farmers markets. Dried lavender for crafts and sachets. Culinary lavender for specialty food markets. Value-added products, soaps, lotions. If vertically integrated agritourism. You pick lavender fields, known farm events. Successful lavender operations generating $80,000 to $120,000 per acre are typically agritourism destinations that capture retail pricing and offer experiences, not just products. Growing requirements: lavender thrives in well-drained soil, full sun, zones 5 to 9. Minimal water and fertilizer, needs once established. Market consideration: high competition. Lavender farming became trendy, leading to market saturation in some regions. Success requires differentiation, unique varieties, value-added products, or destination farm experiences. Number 3, wasabi. Revenue potential: $80,000 to $250,000 per acre, if you can grow it successfully. Real wasabi, Wasabia japonica, is one of the most expensive vegetables in the world. Fresh wasabi rhizomes wholesale for $75 to $150 per pound. Retail prices reach $200 to $300 per pound. Important clarification: 95% of wasabi in restaurants is horseradish dyed green. Real wasabi is rare. Why? Because wasabi is extraordinarily difficult to grow. It requires cool, running water, 50 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit year-round. Shade, 60 to 80% shade coverage. High humidity, 18 to 24 months, from planting to harvest. Precise pH and mineral balance. In the U.S., commercial wasabi production exists in Oregon, Washington, and parts of North Carolina, areas with cool streams and mild climates. 1 acre can yield 3,000 to 5,000 pounds of fresh wasabi rhizomes annually at maturity. At wholesale prices of $100 per pound. Yeah, that's $300,000 plus gross revenue per acre. Reality check: input costs are substantial. You're building water systems, shade structures, and managing a crop that's sensitive to disease and pests. Losses can be significant. Net profit estimates range from $80,000 to $150,000 per acre for established operations with optimized growing conditions. Market: direct sales to high-end restaurants, specialty grocers, and online gourmet markets. The market is small but premium. This is a high barrier to entry crop with exceptional returns for those who master the technique and have appropriate site conditions. Number 2, ginseng. Revenue potential: $100,000 to $200,000 per acre after 5 to 7 years. American ginseng, Panax quinquefolius, is the long-game specialty crop. Roots take 5 to 7 years to reach marketable maturity, but wholesale prices justify the wait. A wild simulated ginseng, grown in forest understory to mimic wild conditions. Wholesales for $300 to $800 per pound of dried root. Woods cultivated ginseng, more intensive management, sells for $150 to $400 per pound. 1 acre of forest can support 4,000 to 10,000 ginseng plants at wild simulated density. Yield at maturity: 400 to 1,000 pounds of dried roots per acre. Revenue calculation: 600 pounds times $500 per pound equals $300,000 gross. Subtract 7 years of planting costs, land maintenance, and root poaching risks. Yes, ginseng theft is a real problem. And net revenue estimates are $100,000 to $150,000 per acre over the life of the crop. Annualized return: spread over 7 years, that's approximately $15,000 to $20,000 per acre annually. Good returns for a crop requiring minimal labor during the growing period. Critical factor: you need forested land with appropriate hardwood canopy, oak, maple, hickory, and well-drained slopes. This is not a field crop. It's high market. Asian export markets drive demand, particularly China. Prices fluctuate based on international demand and supply. For landowners with suitable forested acreage, ginseng represents a long-term investment crop with six-figure revenue potential per acre. Number 1, saffron. Revenue potential: $200,000 to $300,000 plus per acre. Theoretical maximum at intensive production. Saffron is the most expensive spice in the world. Wholesale prices range from $1,500 to $3,000 per pound for quality saffron. Premium grades reach $5,000 plus per pound. To produce 1 pound of dried saffron, you need approximately 75,000 flowers. Each flower produces 3 stigmas. Harvest is entirely manual. Flowers bloom for 1 day and must be picked that morning. A densely planted acre can support 200,000 to 300,000 corms, saffron bulbs. At maturity, year 3 plus, each corm produces 1 to 2 flowers annually. Conservative estimate: 200,000 corms times 1 flower each equals 200,000 flowers equals approximately 2.6 pounds of dried saffron. Revenue: 2.6 pounds times $2,000 wholesale equals $5,200 per acre. Wait, that doesn't match the $200,000 plus claim. Here's the reality. Those theoretical maximum numbers assume optimized density, perfect growing conditions, aggressive corm multiplication, and direct retail sales at $4,000 plus per pound. Realistic first-year returns: modest, $2,000 to $8,000 per acre. And a realistic mature production, year 5 plus, with corm multiplication and direct sales: $30,000 to $60,000 per acre. Absolute ceiling with intensive management, wholesale contracts, and value-added products: $150,000 plus per acre. Why is it listed at number 1? Because per weight value is unmatched, and with proper market positioning, small-scale growers can achieve extraordinary returns per square foot. The labor reality: this is the most labor-intensive crop on this list. Harvesting saffron is meditative, and they have careful handwork, picking flowers at dawn, plucking stigmas with tweezers, drying them properly. For retirees, small-scale farmers, or anyone willing to trade labor for high-value output, saffron remains agriculture's true red gold. 10 crops, 10 radically different revenue models. Corn and soybeans generate $200 to $300 profit per acre. These specialty crops generate $30,000 to $200,000 per acre. But notice what every single one of these requires: specialized knowledge, niche market access, intensive management, or significant patience. None are plant-it-and-get-rich schemes. All require work, skill, and often years of development. But the financial reality is undeniable. 1 acre of high-density specialty crops can outperform 100 acres of commodity production. If you have land, time, and willingness to learn niche markets, these crops represent genuine wealth-building opportunities in agriculture. Which crop interests you most? Comment below. And if you know a farmer struggling with commodity crop margins, share this. Real alternatives exist. Subscribe, because agriculture economics tells the truth. Profit isn't about scale. It's about value per square foot.